Hi, and welcome to Holistic Movement with me, episode 28, I believe. And I'm just going to open up with one statement and then we'll begin. Structure is related to function, and function is related to structure. So if the function of our body is related to our structure, then the structure is related to our function. Food for thought. Keep that in mind. We're going to continue on the vein of the eyes and how to relax the occipital muscles. And we're going to do the second part of the Feldenkrais movement. So I want you to lie on your backs, and you can listen to me if you would like. And if you didn't visit last week, sorry, we'll just start from here. So hopefully my mic will not move. I'm getting a better mic, so it won't. The sound will be better. We're going to have our knees bent, and we're going to start by just doing a diagnostic movement of turning our head to our left and right with our eyes closed. Sorry, I'm holding the mic here. You're probably not looking, which is good. I'm just feeling when I turn my head to the left and right, are there any restrictions or tightness or even ease of movement? Do you find it easier to move to the left than to the right? Maybe there's a tugging, but maybe it's easier when I turn it to the left or right. This is not a stretch. This is just a feel. Okay, we're spacing in. Okay, now bring it back to the center. And let me remind you about from last week as well. When we do this movement, we're doing them extremely slowly. The reason why is because we want to turn on the parasympathetic nervous system more than the sympathetic. They work together. It's not just one or the other. But we want parasympathetic because we want the tissues to relax, and then especially the muscles at the bottom of the base of the skull. So we're going to lie our arms down, and I want you to feel right now also how your rib cage is touching the floor, how your pelvis is touching the floor, how the bottom of your feet are touching the floor. If your knees are bent, if your legs are straight, that's great too. I'm going to keep them bent though. Now, I'm going to turn my eyes, both eyes, to my left, and then my head is going to follow my eyes. When I get to my end range, then I'm going to turn both eyes to the right, and the eyes move to the right, and then the head follows. We did this one last week. We're just doing this a few times just to review that movement, and for people out there that missed last week's class. So we get to the left end range, then we turn our eyes, and then the head follows. Sorry, ants on my feet. To the right, we get to the right end range, and then we turn our eyes to the left, and we let the head follow the eyes. So the eyes are the leader. Let's do that a few more times. Now this movement, can you slow it down by 50%? And then when you do this movement, I'm now closing my eyes. Can you notice if you're tensing any other parts of your skull or even your body, your shoulders? I noticed that my shoulders were tense. I'm letting them go, letting my chest go. My abdominal region is tense as well. I'm letting that go. My jaw was a little bit tense, so now I'm relaxing that. Let's do one more to the right, or if you're on the way to the left, that's okay. We're just doing one more right and left movement. Okay, bring them back to the center. You can straighten the legs out if you want, and relax here. Take a few breaths. Let your body sink and fall into the floor. Okay, now bend the knees again. Now, this time we're going to, again, the eyes are directing the movement. And then this time the eyes and the jaw lead the movement. So the eyes and then the jaw. So we're going to do a really good imitation of Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy Davis is a hero to me, and I'm not joking at all. What a stud. And we're going to turn the eyes to the left, and then the jaw follows. And then the head. Yeah, you cookie cats. Get to the end range, and it's kind of weird. I'm talking like Sammy. Get to the end range, then the eyes and the jaw move to the right. It's like there's a hook in your mouth, and the hook is dragging the jaw and the eyes to the right. Get to your end range. Yeah, baby. And then the eyes and jaw go to the left. And then the head. And then again, notice if you're tensing other parts of your body. My shoulders are really tense right now, so I'm concentrating on relaxing my shoulders while I'm doing this. Now, can you do this in a relaxed manner? Meaning, do you have to let the jaw be used? Do you have to use so much effort to shift that jaw? Ask yourself that. Can you use a lesser amount of effort to shift the jaw and the eyes? And can you slow the movement down? We're going to do one more on each side. Which side is more difficult for you to shift the jaw? Okay. Come back to the center, you cookie cat you. Straighten the legs. Relax the eyes and jaw. And let your body fall again. And just food for thought, if Sammy was here and he would do that, he would only be able to move one eye. That's how talented he was. He had one eye and he was... Keep relaxing. Keep letting the body fall. Okay. If you want to come up and sit, you can. I'm just going to continue lying down because we're going to transition into the next movement. Last week, we did this movement where, remember, we grabbed that top of the knee, this Pilates movement, and just to help with extension in the hamstrings and also flexion in the hips, but also one added benefit is nutation and mobility in the sacrum and where the sacrum meets the pelvis, the SI joints. And I'll post a photo up there so you can kind of see it, and bringing mobility into that, because when we get older, we lose mobility and there's deterioration within the SI joints. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but my head, if you see the screen, my head came way up. I'm going to lower it a little bit. And if your neck gets tired, you can drop the head like I'm doing now. Okay, so we're just warming up with this one. So we're grabbing the one knee, and the other leg is suspended in midair. And then we're grabbing the other one. Remember, we time the breath where you inhale, pull the one leg, exhale, pull the other. Don't forget that circumferential breathing. And you like that tone, do you? Anyway, we're just opening up the hip flexors and lengthening the extensors on the back, the hammies, but also on these hip flexors. I'm trying to relax my shoulders as well. Let's just do one more. just to warm up the hip joints. Sorry, just adjusting the family jewels there. Sorry, Mom. Even though I know my mom's not watching. Okay, now let's drop one leg and then drop the other. Let's rest here. Relax there, take a few breaths. Can you let the legs just fall and the pelvis fall? And then feel those SI joints. Hopefully you saw that picture that I posted. I'll post it again. Can you feel that area? The SI joints can be a major cause, I should say this, a major area that if there's no mobility, then it can cause lower back pain. It can also cause pelvic pain. There's numerous problems with the SI joints. But if you can hydrate them, and when I say hydrate, I'm not talking about drink a lot of water. I'm talking about bringing healthy movement into those, then you have a healthy pelvis and healthy lower back. Okay, next movement. Now, with this one, I'm going to actually try to straighten this one leg. Now, I can't fully straighten this leg. That's okay, I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to grab above the knee there, but if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can grab below the knee, okay? And try to bring the toes to the nose, dorsiflexion. And we're just going to kind of pull that leg towards us. We're going to do this statically right here. And my right leg is suspended in midair. I'm going to let my head drop a little bit, but I'm still going to use the muscles in the front of my neck, okay? I can grab above and I can try to straighten this leg if I can, okay? Then I'm going to switch. I'm going to grab this one. So the left leg is in plantar flexion, toes away from the nose. This one is in dorsiflexion. And then I can grab below the knee or up above. If you grab up above, you get the added benefit of lengthening the hamstrings more because they connect to the gastrocnemius, which connects to the hammies up above the knee, okay? And then let's just switch. So now we're going to do what we just did, that similar movement, this dynamic movement. I'm going to try to relax the shoulders, drop the head. Again, if you have too much strain on the neck, you can drop that head. Okay, I'm going to bring it up a little bit just to strengthen the muscles in the front of my neck. So we can inhale and then exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. I'm going to drop that head back. Inhale, exhale. Let's do one more on each side. And don't worry about the goal is not to completely straighten the legs, but Rob, I got to achieve. Let's drop both feet. How about instead of achieving, you're just being, feeling and being. Okay, let the body fall. Be, as Wim Hof would say, be in this moment. Let the body do what the body is capable of doing. I sound more like Arnold. Get to the chopper than Wim Hof. Okay, let's bend our right knees. We're going to roll over. We're going to come to standing. And I thought we would come into a balancing but also strengthening position of the abductors, the legs, and mainly the big toe and how to stabilize with the big toe. And I was cooking the other day and I just came up with this. We'll see how it goes. But I really like it because it's strengthening, it's eccentrically strengthening the glutes, the abductors. And so I'm going to show you from a few angles. I'm going to start with the right foot. Now, when I start with the right foot and balance on this foot, my body's going to shift a little bit. I got to stabilize with the abductors. And I'm going to use that big toe and push down. Really concentrate and put my mind and my body, into that big toe. And I'm going to bring this left foot back. Now, look at my toes. The top of the toenails are touching the floor. And then I'm going to bring my right arm forward like this and my left arm back like that. Now let me show you from this angle. And I'm going to bend this right knee. And I'm rotating my rib cage to my left, okay, as I stabilize with this right leg. Now if you want, you can lift this left foot up. And I'm just doing this action like that. Let's stay here statically for a second. I almost switched. Okay, and then of course, any moment that you can jazz hands, jazz hands. And then switch. I'm going to bring the left foot forward, and I'm going to, it's a little bit more difficult, my left, and I'm going to rotate the ribcage to the right. And when I rotate that, it's going to pull on the fibers of my glutes here in that eccentric manner, meaning lengthening them long, but strengthening them at the same time. Yep. And I'm just going to switch to different angles here. Let's turn at this. And you don't have to switch, it's just me. I just want to show you from all these different angles so you can see the different points of my body and how they are adapting to this movement. Yep. I'm making sure, I just look down at my left foot and I'm making sure that it's straight. And I'm using that big toe to support the whole body. Now, of course, you're using the rest of the foot as well. Jazz hands. Let me show you from the front. I almost busted it right there. For the past few weeks, I've really been working on trying to strengthen my right big toe because of a former injury. And I've noticed that my balance has improved even more, and I have taken away some forces upon the knee, my right knee. I believe I have a torn meniscus. I've had it for many, many years. But as long as I provide stability with the foot, it doesn't really bother me. Let's do one more on each side. And I just relaxed my jaw and my forehead. Yep, snap, crackle, pop. Okay, come on back. I'm going to turn this way. And let's relax here. And what do you notice? How is this area feeling? These areas right here. Maybe your inner thighs. Maybe you feel it on your big toes. There's no wrong feeling. You're just feeling what's activating. Okay, now, last position. There's a rolfer, a structural integrator like me, that is out of LA. Her name is Mary Bond. She is amazeballs. She has a website, I'll post it, and I love her videos and her techniques, her books. I've read a couple of her books, and she talks about how do we decompress the spine, because we're so focused on posture. I got to get that chest forward and bump. That actually creates hinge points in the spine, folks, so please don't ever do this. Instead, can we decompress the vertebrae by lengthening the spine upward? Imagine a string impaling you from the top of your head all the way down to your tailbone. And there's a puppet master up above, and that puppet master is pulling that string, and you're lengthening the whole spine upward. Now, why are we finishing the class with this? Because remember, every class I emphasize, can we finish with extension? Standing back bend, squatting back bends, the bow, the cobra. This is also a form of extension. It's just so practical to everyday life because you can do this anywhere. You're standing in line, wherever. You're sitting, you can do this sitting as well. And it helps to bring the pelvis and the rib cage into proper alignment by that decompression and lengthening the whole spine upward. I've taught this to thousands of clients. I do it to myself as well. And I hope that you can adopt it and think about it when you're engaging in your everyday life activities. So I'm going to show you my pelvis. Okay, so here I've got an interior tilt of the pelvis. Right? So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to lengthen this, and then the pelvis, hopefully, you can see this, is coming into a more neutral position. Okay, so I'll show you from a few angles. So I'm confused here. So here's the string, and imagine that string instead of, because a lot of people when I teach them this, they'll do this. It's not about tilting your rib cage backward. It's about pretend you're in a sandwich, and those two pieces of bread, and whatever you want to put on those two pieces of bread, are squeezing and pulling your whole body upward, especially your spine. So we're doing this action. Now, can you add, while we're doing this, I'm going to relax my shoulders, okay? So when I do this, I'm letting the shoulders drop onto the rib cage. As you're doing this, you've got the pull from up above, from the puppet master, and then you're pushing your big toes into the floor. So you got two polar opposites, above and below. Pushing down with the toes, but lengthening from up above. So let's time our breaths to it now. Inhale up. Exhale. Now, I don't know if you notice this, but when I inhale, usually when we inhale, we should just let the belly drop out, flop out. See how fat I am? But in this one, we're doing paradoxical breathing, meaning when we inhale, can we suck our gut in and lengthen upward? And then when we exhale, we're relaxing that gut. Okay? And we're just kind of slouching like this. Jokes aside, we're not trying to slouch, but it happens. Now, you don't have to hold this hand in front of your head. I'm just helping you visualize this. I'm going to do it without. Because if you're standing in line somewhere and you do this, probably people are going to think you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But people already do of me, so I really don't worry about that too much. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it now with my eyes closed. Let's do one more. Now I noticed that I was tensing my pelvic floor. So now I'm relaxing my pelvic floor. Okay, cool. Let's lie on our backs. Let's rest. We're almost done. Now look at your body, make sure it's straight. Relax the arms out to the side. And take a few breaths and let your shoulders drop, let your rib cage drop, your lower back, your pelvis, your legs, your heels, your hands, your elbows, the back of your eyes. Now, if you want, we can finish with that diagnostic test. You can turn your head to the left and right and see, is that tension that was there in one side of the neck or both still there? Or maybe you forgot. That's okay. We forget. And fall. And remember, function is related to structure, and structure is related to function. See you next week.